Hello and welcome to Chad Mental Health, where I teach you how to be a Giga Chad about your mental health care. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of trying to maintain being social. As people living in a society, when there's so many people around, so many people that may say not so nice things, some people that may be overstimulating. There's all kinds of them out there. And it is very important when you have a mental illness that even with all of that sensory overload, that you still maintain a very good balance of being social. Now, I know that many mental illnesses are very antisocial because there's so many different things in society that can cause us to go off the deep end because people don't understand. It really just comes down to ignorance. And humans are very ignorant when it comes to many things. It doesn't matter how smart you are. You're going to not know something. And being unmoving on wanting to learn something just means you're just a stump. You're not going to move. You're not going to grow. So your intelligence is going to be very biased. So try to find people who you can surround yourself with who are going to understand. Now, I'm not saying to go out there and find yes men. You do not want a group of yes men. No. And by yes men, it doesn't matter male or female. That's just a saying. So you don't want people that are just going to tell you, oh yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, you're right. You don't want that. You really don't. You want somebody who's actually going to be honest with you. Somebody who's going to tell you when you're actually in your mental state if you ask. Instead of them saying, oh no, you're fine. You don't want people like that. They're just going to contribute to you getting worse. Now, am I saying to go out there and just be friends with a bunch of jerks? No, absolutely not. No. See, having a mental illness is all about balance. And that is the first and foremost thing, is balance. And that is what I will be talking about, or preaching, or soapboxing, if you will, about mental health, is that you need to have a balance. And being social is yet another part that's very important for you. Even if you have agoraphobia, you need to have some kind of a social thing, even if it's just being parasocial, like on the internet. You could potentially still be having some kind of a social thing, even if you're not really being social. Just try to have something is the point. You need something to be social with, because human beings are social creatures, even if we are the most agoraphobic and anti-people person, either because of illness or not. Yet again, a running theme in my videos are things that are going to be able to help for either with your mental health or if you don't have mental problems at all. These are all universal things that are just even more helpful if you have mental illness. And being social is one of those things. You want to try to maintain some kind of regular social behavior because it's good for our brain. Because we have to live in a society. We don't really have any other choice because of how everything has evolved over time. We just don't have a choice. We have to be involved in this society in one way or the other, whether it's to get our medications, even just going outside of the door. So I highly recommend that even if you have crippling agoraphobia, which I understand, I've been very agoraphobic at times before I got on proper medication. Like, I still sometimes am like, I don't want to go out. Yeah, I don't want to see people. I don't want them to see me. I'm like walking down the street talking to myself and people are looking at me. I'm like talking like freaking Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Meaning my medication. But yeah, it's very daunting sometimes when you're all inside of your brain. It's like your brain is pulling you this way. And then real life is like, come on, you gotta go this way. Come on, or you're never gonna make anything of yourself. So, you really should very well try to be social, at least talk to somebody that you care about or somebody that cares about you. At least try. Trying is the only thing that you can do. You have to at least give it an effort beyond just doing something once and then thinking that that's just it for you. Because no, it's not it for you. There is something out there for everyone. The only big caveat is that depending on where you live can be the biggest problem. And I do highly recommend that if you are in a toxic situation, to try your best to leave. Because if you're in a toxic situation socially, your social life with living with a mental illness is going to be very impactful, as I've said in another video. Very impactful. You can't deny the importance of social time in general. Try to be social, because if you don't, you're going to be in your shell, and you can only see like this little bit, just this little bit. So how are you supposed, and people can hardly hear you because you have your mouth covered, because you don't know how to talk to people anymore. So silliness aside, I highly recommend being social at least a couple times a week, just to keep your brain sane and grounded in reality. Because just watching TV isn't going to help. And you're just going to start thinking over time that your brain is right when it's not. Because you're mentally ill. Your brain isn't always right. So you have to have at least some social interaction so that you can maintain on even ground. Because if you're on even ground, that is where you can begin to build your mental health. And then you can be a Giga Chad about your mental health care. So I hope that you have a great morning, a wonderful afternoon, or an amazing evening, wherever you live.